Season's greetings, everybody.
Happy holidays.
I'm Tom Pinchuk.
And I'm Andrew Godowski, making my first appearance on the screen side.
That's right. This is his big debut, his close-up. And the reason why is because it's that special time of year, the time when people will look back on 2010 and think about the good times they've had with friends, maybe some mistakes they've made. But if you're a big movie fan like we are, what are you thinking about?
Why you're wearing that suit?
You are thinking about that. And you're also thinking about what were the top 5 movies, your favorites of the year. Why don't you join us? We're going to sit down, go through our 5 favorites, tell you the reasons why.
Give it the camera. You give it off, down.
We were supposed to do this in a movie theater, but they got wind of Tom's top 5 picks, and we got demoted down to this area.
Actually, it was Crimes Against Fashion. We got a fine from the fashion police, right?
Yeah, because you're wearing dark pants with that very nice checkered blazer.
That's right. That is what it's about. It's about combining the highbrow and the lowbrow, the exciting and the dramatic, all in one. So for my top list, I'm going to start off with Shutter Island, which was the other big Leo movie that came out about in February. I liked it a lot. It was, I wish in the end, without spoiling anything, that they maybe had it played the thing a little more straight, the concept a little more straight. But there was no other movie I saw this year that had such a palpable sense of mood going through it. You know, there was just like a creeping sense of doom, and that was something I really enjoyed. And, you know, truthfully, I didn't really appreciate the twist as much. I mean, it definitely gave a lot of gristle for the grind, a lot of discussion for your parties afterwards. But like I said, I wish they played it straight. But that, regardless, I enjoyed the work a lot. It was like the 5th collaboration between
27th.
Between Leo and Martin Scorsese. But that was definitely one of my favorites. Sarah, I believe you liked it as well too.
I did. It just missed out my top 5 list. I really enjoyed Ben Kingsley in it.
What was his line? How'd that go? It's about like I believe it's like one of the inmates is gone, and he how does he say it?
It's as if she evaporated straight through the walls.
Straight through the walls and into our hearts. That is what Shutter Island is about. Now the next one on my list would be Book of Eli, starring Denzel Washington and done by the friend of Whiskey Media, Gary Whitta. Although I wasn't aware of that when I saw the thing, but I enjoyed it a hell of a lot. And the thing is about it, I love Denzel. You know, when he's in Training Day, you know, he shot me in the ass. He shot me in the ass. That is the definitive Denzel line for me. And watching this, it's
like King Kong ain't got shit on me.
No, it was just shot me in the ass. Shot me in the ass. Right in the ass. And he wasn't too much to talk about that, but there were plenty of badass lines where he was saying,
"You listening to me?"
Yeah.
Good. Put that hand on me again, you won't get it back.
Watching this movie kind of makes me wish that Denzel had started doing action movies a little younger in his career. Seriously, the most badass movie I've seen all year. Just kind of like a post-apocalyptic samurai western without really being explicitly any of those things at once. You'd have to be blind not to see how good a movie it was.
Didn't you think, though, that he was going back to The Rock when Malcolm McDowell walked out and kind of looked like Sean Connery in The Rock?
I did, which is, it's like a reading of the movie you can have. It's like how some people can watch Ferris Bueller and believe that Ferris is a figment of Cameron's imagination. That's a reading of the film. That's another reading of the film.
That's true.
Now, number 3 is The American. Might as well be called The Quiet American, although that was a Michael Caine movie from a few years back. But it was pretty quiet. It was almost kind of like a James Bond movie with the realistic side of how it would really be. A lot of downtime. He's on the lam. He's just a lonely guy, and no matter what he does, no matter who he touches, no matter what he believes or how he tries to get out of the situation, there's always going to be blowback. The past is always going to catch up to him. It was kind of a mismarketed movie, I think you would agree.
Yeah. Terribly mismarketed.
They made it seem like it was going to be like a Bourne movie with wall-to-wall action. And the thing was, is like when they actually had the action, it was great. But it was just like one of those things where like you'd have like about 20 minutes of like tension, and then there'd be like a quick release, which is pretty much what reality is like anyway. And I enjoyed the film tremendously. It was a great performance by George Clooney, and that's if he doesn't get some kind of nomination or some kind of credit for that year. I mean, I don't pay attention to that stuff. These are the only awards I care about. Okay, I don't care about your Oscars or your Golden Globes.
Golden Globes.
Your Golden Globes.
That's how highly he thinks of it.
That's how highly I regard them. It's all about the Chucks. The Chucks.
Oh God.
That is what I'm calling
God.
these right now. But that was what it would receive an award from me.
I mean, it was just really well done. I mean, I like The American too. And really quick, just to add on what Tom said, it was one of those movies that wasn't necessarily, really original in what it did, but it did everything so well that it didn't really matter. And I think that that's kind of a lost art nowadays in Hollywood. So it's really refreshing to see something like that.
So my next choice on the list is Inception. What a great campaign, what a great song, a really good example about how much music can affect a movie, and certainly an example of dream building. I'm not going to act like it was, it was kind of familiar for people who have seen like The Matrix or The 13th Floor or all those kind of reality questioning movies that have come out, even Vanilla Sky over the years. But what I appreciate about this was it was pretty much Nolan is untouchable these days. It seems like no matter wherever any other filmmaker seems to have some kind of deficiency, he's there to have a very well-informed and very disciplined response to that. So this wasn't something that heavily relied on CG. It wasn't something that was doing action at the expense of the story. The action was there to drive the story and had some amazing set pieces. And I just thought it was ingenious for the fact that you had this Hollywood blockbuster that got away with having a dream within a dream within a dream, possibly within another dream, and got away with it. I'm glad that Nolan's at the point in his career now where he can have enough credibility and catch that he can do things that are on his own. In fact, I think this might have only been like one of the biggest movies of summer blockbusters that actually wasn't based off of anything, if I recall correctly.
One of the very few, yeah.
Yeah,
it might have been the only one.
If not the only one, certainly one of the very few, and I appreciate it for that, because that's what I like about it is, as a huge enough of a comics fan as I am, and that does relate to the next choice, I love to be surprised and I love to see things that I haven't seen otherwise, and for that is what I appreciate about Inception. And for the now my number one choice, Scott Pilgrim versus the World. It's like how could you fit more things that I liked into one movie? Comics, kung fu, video game. We had the very beautiful Mary Elizabeth Winstead there, though. When I was kind of picking between, if I had the choice between this and Inception, I would say that like this was the one I had more fun at. It wasn't maybe necessarily the most like intellectual in that respect, but it was the kind of movie where I was smiling for about like a half hour after watching that, and those kind of things were few and far between. This is the kind of movie I like to go back to. It's just fun to kind of live into that world, that sort of a metaphor of video games. Video game eyes your life, right? And that's something that I think, especially they talk about like how films can kind of speak to different generations, and I feel like this was something that kids our age, or even those the children at heart anyway, those who enjoy games, it's fun to think of your life in those terms. About like you have to have your bosses and your power-ups that you have to take care of. And I was really kind of heartbroken that it didn't do better at the box office. I can understand why it was so polarizing, but for that respect, I think it needs more attention, it needs more love. So Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, my favorite movie of the year. Did you enjoy it as well?
I did. I really liked Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, and I thought it had some amazing supporting roles for guys like
Brandon Routh.
You had Thomas Jane, one of the vegan police, if you got that.
Chris Evans.
Chris Evans was pretty awesome in it, too.
I mean, the thing I liked about it, too, is it kind of reminded me of kind of like, they said like the high concept was like Kill Bill meets Ferris Bueller, and it was one of those few movies like outside like a Cameron Crowe movie or a John Hughes movie where there was a real sense of community in there.
Right.
Like you really felt like these kids were friends, they're living in the same community, their lives are impacting each other. And in that respect, and then you also get like some really badass fight scenes too. It actually probably had some of the best staged, I think, action and choreography I've seen. It opened up next to Expendables, and I think this was a better action movie in that respect.
No Sly.
No Sly.
No Arnold.
There were some Sly nods, but Hey-oh. And that is the note to end on. It was a Sly movie with Sly nods.
So we'll be back tomorrow with my top 5, and hope to see you then.